the bricks of the alley wall, his breathing rough. He hadn't felt so weak since he'd almost died of the fever that killed his mother. Macraes entered the alley and placed his hands on Nikolai's shoulders, then knelt so their eyes were on the same level. "We mean you no harm," he said in fair Italian. Nikolai spat at him, but somehow missed his mark. Macraes frowned. "He doesn't seem to understand Italian," he said in English. "I wish I knew that dog Arabic the locals speak." Nikolai didn't bother spitting again, since it had done no good, but he growled like a mongrel. Dog Arabic indeed! Maltese was the ancient tongue of the Phoenicians. Since it had never been trapped in an alphabet, it was the private speech of Malta, a mystery to stupid foreigners like this one. The short man, who stood behind Redhead, said dryly, "Are you sure you want to converse with a rabid pup like this?" Macraes stood, releasing his grip on Nikolai's shoulders. "Look at him with a sight, then ask me that again." The short man's eyes narrowed for a moment, then opened wide. "Good God, the boy blazes with power. When he comes of age, he'll be a formidable mage. If he lives long enough and receives the proper training," Macraes said grimly. "From the looks of him, he's halfway to starvation." "Don't talk about me as if I'm not here," Nikolai blurted out. "Rude." "The creature speaks English," the short man said with amazement. "His accent is abominable, but he's fluent enough." "He's not a creature," Macraes said irritably. "He's a boy, probably younger than my Duncan. He's one of us, Jasper. His power has a different flavour from any I've known, but it's real, and has great potential." "African blood, perhaps," Jasper murmured. "There is some of that in his face and colouring, as well as in the flavour of his magic." Nikolai's strength was returning, but he was still trapped between the two men. Why was no one noticing this scene? People walked by in the square just a few feet away and didn't even glance in the alley. Mage. One of them had used the word. His grandmother had said it meant wizard or witch doctor. They'd used magic to trap him, then to ensure that no one looked their way. He scrunched his mind up, like Nonna had showed him, and dived under Macraes' arm in another bid for freedom. A hard hand caught him again. "Look at that, Jasper! The boy has shields strong enough to make him disappear from mage sight. Either he's had training, or he learned that to survive," Jasper said thoughtfully. "I begin to share your interest. But what's to be done with a wild lad like this one?" "Let's start by feeding him." The tall man caught Nikolai's gaze. "I'm Macraes of Dunrath, and this is Jasper Polmarek. You have always known you were different, haven't you?" Nikolai debated lying, before giving a reluctant nod. Macraes continued, "We are also different in the same way you are, or similar anyhow. Among our duties is to help others of our sort when there is need. At the least, you stand in need of a good meal. Will you join us? If you look at me with your mind, you'll know I mean no harm." Nikolai had always been good at reading intentions, and he sensed no desire to hurt, but there was more than one kind of assault. "Won't be your whore." Instead of anger, Macraes smiled. "I have no interest in dirty little boys, except when they have the potential you do. Is there a tavern where we can get a good meal and talk in privacy?" Nikolai nodded and led the two men through the alleys, emerging by the best tavern on the waterfront. It looked over the grand harbour and was a favoured place for ship's officers and merchants. Of course, he'd not eaten there himself, but he sometimes scavenged leavings at the back door. The landlord scowled when he saw Nikolai enter, but the obvious wealth of the Englishman saved him from being thrown out. Jasper paused to order food and drink, while Macraes escorted Nikolai to a quiet booth in the far corner of the tap room. Nikolai didn't like being herded, but tantalizing.